It's been 3 years since my last video. Time was in fact slipping away from me. So my last video was 2021. And after that video, I started my 4th out of 5 years at my university. And I had went abroad that year. That definitely changed my life. My study abroad term in Costa Rica really set the tone. And I had a lot to get done in my last 2 years of college. So it was a bit difficult, you know, to keep up with editing and posting. I have so many videos that have been supposed to see the light of day. I also moved into my apartment, so as you can tell, the background is a little different, but still the same vibe. Yeah, so basically I graduated and then life got crazy. It was already crazy, but I feel like now my pillars are back in balance. And I came across a video from another creator recently that really inspired me to make this video today. The video that inspired today is Mimi I'm First versus Everyone Frame by Frame by Mary Mahoney, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. It's funny because I actually had that video sitting in my watch laters for days, and then one of my friends told me like, yo, I really think you would love this video because she knows that I love film, I love analysis, and I love Drag Race. So I love that video. I've already watched it like 3 times. And as I was watching, I'm like, not only do I love the content, but the concept of how this is structured is really speaking to me. And if I were to do this, what would I do it for? The first thing that came to mind is what we're going to be discussing today, which I'm sure you can tell by the thumbnail and the title. We're going to be breaking down Carrie's big day, as in her wedding day with Mr. Big from the first Sex and the City movie. I'm actually really excited about this. First of all, I'm excited to just be scripting and recording, editing, getting back into the flow. I love Sex and the City. Anyone who knows me knows that is my comfort show. And it was the first thing I thought of, and I think a lot of people would hopefully enjoy this. My glasses are so dirty, but my ring light is like a little heart-shaped thing. And I need to put my glasses on now because I can't see. Let's get into it, right? So shot number 1. First, you have this beautiful wide shot. Like, I'm seeing lovely architecture here. I believe they're at a library. I don't know what library this is in New York, but it's definitely huge. I love the symmetry of this chandelier right down the middle of the shot. And you kind of have this descending line from the staircase, making you pay attention to whoever is about to walk up the stairs. We're assuming as the viewers that somebody is about to walk up these steps. This is not simple B-roll. If so, we will be seeing a lot of shots of the overall architecture, which I would have loved. I would have loved if there was 5 seconds of B-reel of just the venue itself, like with the setup. I would have loved to see the actual room that they were gonna walk down the aisle with all of the rows and the decorations. I think that would have made everything hit a little bit more, and you'll see what I mean by the end of the video. But I feel like if we really got to see more of how much a spectacle this wedding was gonna be, we would understand maybe Big's freak out a little bit more and understand just how much was really lost from this moment. So in this second shot, we see the main ensemble slowly descending up the stairs. We can already start to see some indicators of personalities and roles also that are gonna play out in this. Of course, you have Carrie in white in her wedding dress. She's gonna play a more innocent, passive role until she pops off. You have Samantha in the red. I love Samantha in red. I think this is really her color, but I think her wearing red a lot in the show also says a lot about her characterization. Is a bit more fiery. You have Miranda in the blue, which I think is just a very nice, rich color for her. This is not, would I call this royal blue? We can say that it's royal blue. Then you also have Charlotte in the black. So I love how we have the black and the white in the middle, and then the red and the blue on the ends. But just in terms of color palette and framing the shot, I love how Miranda and Samantha are on the ends with the primary colors, and then you have black and white in the middle. And again, this beautiful chandelier and the railing of the stairs cutting right in the middle, creating that lovely symmetry right there. You also have the staircase railings on the sides, creating that downward line, like I said, and then the symmetry of the pillars on the left and right. This is just, I love it. It looks beautiful. All right, so shot number 3, we have the boys. So, you know, we were just looking at the main ensemble of all the women. Now we're flipping over to their perspective and who they're looking at. And we have, oh my God, what is this man's name? Hold on, we have Stanford, we have Harry, and we have Matilda. Let me look these characters' names up, hold on. Anthony Marantino. Okay, I knew it was an M name. And then, okay, Anthony and Stanford, Miranda's maid. Magda. Okay, Anthony and Magda. So yes, so we flipped perspectives and now we're looking at the opposite ensemble. We have Anthony and Stanford standing next to each other. I don't believe they were married at this point. So this is very cute to me. I think they get married in the second movie, and I think that's how the second movie starts out. All right, so moving on to the next one, we have a close-up of Lily and Brady. And Brady is just smiling, girl. Like, he don't know what's going on. I feel like Lily, given the fact that earlier in the movie, Lily was the one who picked up the phone when Big was trying to call Carrie and then hung it up and put it away. I feel like somehow Lily was like tapped in. Like, Lily intuitively knew that this man wasn't that and that he was going to pull a stunt. So I feel like this whole scene, she's literally just very unbothered queen. I love this next shot of Magda just being like she's so happy, man. I feel like I love these characters who have been in the background of the show for so long and we don't really ever get insight on how they're interpreting what's been going on. But Magda and Miranda's relationship has been so complex and is really developed by this point in the overall plot between the series and the movies. And I feel like people like Harry, Stanford, like these people that deserved more screen time for sure and deserved to have their inner workings also presented and not just like an accessory to the other characters. But I feel like we get a lot of input into how these characters have been feeling, at least about Carrie and then possibly Carrie and Big throughout time, just by how they're reacting to this whole situation. Okay, next frame. This is giving me painting vibes. First of all, we have Carrie, kind of like the first, I would say your eyes either could go to Carrie, Samantha, or Miranda first. Probably not Charlotte or the boys because they're in muted black kind of on the sides. So your attention is really drawn to the blue, red, and white right in the middle. Then you have the black on the sides. He is still giving unbothered queen. She's looking up at Miranda like, why are you hyped? Like, this wedding not even about to happen for real. Like, y'all need to tap in. All right, this next shot, you go back to the girls, but Miranda is noticeably absent. And I do kind of like that they're already establishing here where people are at in their lives, right? So not to reach or whatever, but I think over the next couple frames, the way that they position the girls really shows where they are in relation to Carrie's marital status at this point. And I'm gonna get into that in another couple frames, but I'm just gonna point it out now that you have Miranda already off to the side. And then you have Samantha and Charlotte in this frame. Carrie is kind of fluffing up her dress, just kind of trying to use her hands. It gives it, like, you know, it's giving she has flutters a little bit. She's a bit nervous and is just trying to occupy herself. And then Charlotte's right behind her. Samantha's to her side. And then Samantha leaves the shot and Charlotte is still kind of like next to Carrie, kind of standing behind her, moving to her side. And that establishes everybody on where they're gonna now be for the rest of the scene, pretty much until they leave the library. So you have Charlotte directly to Carrie's side, Samantha across from her, and then Miranda also a little bit to her side, but to the furthest part. And as I'm thinking about it, as the scene goes forward, they kind of maintain those positions in different ways. So again, we'll come back to that too. These next two shots are where you can really start to see the vibe shift. Like something's wrong, something's not quite right here. So you have Anthony looking nervous as hell. Like he's sweating. He's sweating. I think it's also that added pressure that he planned the damn situation. He's like, this is gonna be happening. Like, it's gonna look bad for him too. Of course, it's gonna be bad for Carrie, but on a career standpoint, this is gonna be very embarrassing for him to plan this whole wedding and have the groom not even show. Stanford standing next to him with a very confusing facial expression. But I think Stanford is the type to like nervous laugh. Like he gives me that energy where when something is stressful or scary, like he'll nervous laugh or he'll kind of like react in a way that's unorthodox because he doesn't know what to do with himself. So I don't really hold it against him here. And going to this very next frame, you have Anthony's eyes kind of darting around, like he's looking between Carrie, Charlotte, and Miranda, trying to see if anybody, you know, because they were already late. So I think he's looking for a signal that they know why Big not there and why anybody was late. He's like, first of all, why are you bitch late? Then on top of that, where your man at? Like he's just trying to figure out what's going on. So I feel like that's kind of why he's looking around. And then Stanford is still looking visibly uncomfortable, visibly nervous. And I feel like his eyes are only on Carrie, whereas Anthony's are bouncing around trying to figure out what the situation is right now. Okay, this next shot we have, again, I really like this alignment here of Charlotte and Harry on the sides. You have Harry with their child, Lily, and then you have Miranda on the ground with Brady and Magda. This part to me is very significant because, as I mentioned, I feel like they're trying to establish where the ensembles are in their lives in relation to Carrie in this moment, because it's really about to get bad for her. So it's kind of good for us to know as an audience where everybody else is and where they are stable at, because Carrie's situation is about to completely turn on its head. So you have Charlotte with her man present, Harry. She's definitely the best off right now. She has her beautiful child. We don't know it yet, but she's pregnant at this point. And so I really love how they're kind of on the edge, kind of being those secure forces on the side, establishing, you know, the bubble that they're kind of in. Speaking of Charlotte, I feel like she is just so excited in this scene. Her girl's about to get married. Y'all know Charlotte loves a good marriage. She loves a good wedding. She loves a good union. She loves a good sanctity of marriage. Like, she loves the whole shaboop shebang. And so I feel like they're all excited, but I think she's the most excited because I think she's also the most optimistic and has been from day one. And she brings this up herself later in the movie when she confronts Big and says that she rues the day that he was born. And so Charlotte has always been 10 toes down. Like, she always loved Carrie and Big together. She was always rooting for him to get it together. And so I think this is not just a big day for Carrie, but it's a big day for Charlotte too. And so they're already kind of establishing her really being close to Carrie's side and being the close to her in terms of marital status, where she's still very happy in her fairly new marriage, and Carrie is about to enter what she thinks is going to be a happy new marriage. And so they're very much aligned in that way. I love how she tells Carrie that she looks beautiful. She's helping her fix her dress. She's paying attention to every detail. Like, Charlotte is the girl that you want in your bridal party and to even be your best maid, like 100%. This is literally the last moment that anybody knew peace. Samantha looks so happy right now. It's like, I wish I could go there and be like, cherish this moment. She looks so happy. She's smiling at her friend. Like, wow, she can't believe we finally made it. Mind you, Samantha was the first person to even spot Big in the entire plot of the show. In the pilot, her and Carrie was out one night. She spotted him across the room. She said, do you know who that is? He's the one man that makes like he's the only man even comparably rich to Trump. Sorry to have to bring him up. But Samantha was the one to notice him in the club and was trying to get at him that night, and he wasn't trying to do all that. But yeah, so I feel like this is even more significant for Samantha, where she's like, wow, I've been there from day one. I was there the first time this girl even saw this man. Yeah, girl, cherish the moment. I love how in this scene you can also see Anthony playing nervously with his hands because he knows that someone's gonna have to say something very soon, and they're about to probably walk up the stairs to the chapel, and he's gonna be like, nobody's gonna be there, sister, nobody's there. And Stanford, again, is just kind of standing there looking a little constipated, honestly, and like just very confused, and he's like, I don't know, girl, I don't know what's going on. Boom. He's not here. Samantha said, who's not here? Like, who? What do you mean he's not here? God is very much present in this church. He's ready to witness the establishment of this union. He whom? The groom is absent. Boom. There's like a beat of silence. Okay. You have Charlotte already kind of looking, because it's like they clearly heard that. Like, y'all have to remember, go back to the frame a couple frames ago, that this is a very small space. So there's no way that he said that and everybody didn't hear it. So Charlotte look up like, what's tea? And then Carrie's like, what was said? Now let's really get into this. I love how Carrie is like holding up her veil like this. It almost symbolizes her like really opening her eyes. Like, she's kind of had her veil on, maybe the wool over her eyes. And before the scene, the night before the wedding, she calls Big, or he calls her. They manage to get on the phone, and he clearly is giving nervy vibes. And she's like talking him through it. But me personally, if I have to convince my husband to marry me tomorrow, what? Call the wedding off. But they had already spoken, and she was already getting anxious vibes. And she told us this, the audience and her friends, after this whole scene. But all to say that there's a lot of internal emotions right now that are starting to come out. And I do kind of feel like this symbolizes her removing the veil or the wool over her eyes that she purposely put there herself because she didn't want to see it. And then you have Charlotte looking on, getting very, very anxious. I love how she's holding the flowers to her. Those are the flowers that will later be used for a different purpose than originally intended. Big's not here. Christina's gone. I think Kim Cattrall looks gorgeous here. I've always loved her character in red. This really reminds me of that scene, I think it was in season 2, where she met the guy who was way too big and she had on that gorgeous but very simple red dress. Upon hearing this, Charlotte immediately hit the white corporate face. And then she looks over at Carrie. Carrie's just still standing there stunned like, huh? So then Charlotte goes, but we're 25 minutes late. Houseway, like, what do you mean the groom's not here? Because the groom's not here implies that we don't know why. It'd be different if it's like, ugh, Big stuck in traffic, he just called. But if it's like, oh no, the groom's not here. I love this frame of Miranda slowly standing up and scoping the scenery out. Like, she's kind of been off to the side for quite a handful of frames at this point and has not been an active player in this scene, but she is now rejoining the situation. That was a statement that made her stand up. I'm sure she was listening to everything before, but that was the part that made her be like, let me remove my bang and read that again. Like, what do you mean Big's not here? So at this point, the energy quite literally shifts. Like, everybody kind of started to peep what was going on. Everybody walked into this scene with semblances of understandings, and some people were kind of privy to what was happening. Others were totally clueless. At this point, we're kind of on the same page. Big's not here. And we don't know exactly why, but the fact that we don't know why is bad. It's very, very bad. There is no way that the only number he knows is Carrie's. If he was stuck in traffic, he would have been able to get in touch with somebody else in this bridal party at this point. There's no way he don't got at least one other number saved or memorized, or to at least call the damn library if you really stuck and tell them what's going on so that they can report. Well, give me a phone. Somebody give me a phone. The crash out was slowly starting at this point. Like, okay. But her being like, well, give me a phone. I love how clearly she was trying to very much remain calm. Like, there's no point in spazzing out the gate. Let's try to problem solve. Okay, my husband's not here. Have we communicated with him? Has anybody heard from him? God forbid something happened, but like, let's not jump to the worst conclusion out the gate, right? You can see Charlotte, literally, she's starting to hold her items closer to herself. She's starting to self-soothe because at this point, the vibes are very, very bad and everyone else's intuition is kind of kicking in at this point. Carrie is still in denial. So I love how you start to see Charlotte kind of pull her things closer. She's still clutching the flowers as if her life depends on it. Like, she's trying very hard to hold on to any semblance of this marriage and this union that was supposed to be established today. But clearly we start to see things falling apart a little bit. So I feel like that's kind of some symbolism there of her trying to hold on to what she can. We have Samantha first being the one to initially try to offer her phone to Carrie. I love this shot of the red and Samantha reaching from one frame to the next. We have our first frame with her next to Stanford and Anthony, the black contrasting to the red. I really love. Then you kind of have, it doesn't pan. I would have loved if it did, but if you were there in the scene, then your eyes would have followed Samantha to go to this perspective of now looking on to Charlotte and Carrie. And I love how the red is literally bleeding into the next frame, basically, as she's reaching towards Carrie in her white dress. She has the flowers again also next to her, reaching past Charlotte in the black dress to hand her the phone. I just really love how she's kind of peeking into this, but she's still holding back here with Anthony and Stanford, which later in the scene, she establishes herself as like the business front of the situation in terms of problem solving and conflict resolution. And so I like how she's reaching into the shot with Carrie and Charlotte, who are on the younger, emotional, closer to marital status side, and Samantha's kind of in between, but then she recluses back into the business side. Love this shot of Carrie literally holding an iPhone like this. Like, she's literally like, hello, what did you just hand to me? What is this? And honestly, from her perspective, just that screenshot of like what's going on the screen, I'm like, yeah, this looks crazy. If you're going from flip phones and have never touched an iPhone in your life, this looks insane. I feel like they had to break the tension a little bit. So her being like, all right, I can't use this, and like kind of trying to hand it back. I feel like it got a little bit too tense, and they're kind of trying to string some comedic relief throughout to give you some breathing room as the viewer, because in general this series is like very lighthearted, especially the movies. Like the series itself is fairly lighthearted and has its heavy moments, but I feel like the movies really try to go for that campy early 2000s vibe. And so yeah, they had to kind of break the tension up a little bit here. I love how we zoom back out for this frame. We have everybody fully past the steps. The last time we had this perspective, we still had half of our ensemble climbing the stairs, Miranda in the furthermost position towards her child, which we see a lot in this scene, that Miranda's always kind of ahead of everybody. At this point, she's the only one to give birth to a child. Of course, Charlotte has a child and becomes pregnant in this movie, but I think at this point Miranda's always kind of been very forward in terms of her career, her children, all of that kind of stuff. Like she's always kind of crossing certain steps before her friends, and I think we even see that in her physically escalating these stairs and moving forward towards her child quicker than everybody. You still have Samantha on the furthest left, you have Miranda in the middle still, then Charlotte, and then Carrie. So I love how they kept their positions consistent throughout here, but now you have Stanford leaving that side, going into the middle towards Carrie to pass her the phone, which I do like, because I do think Carrie, Charlotte, and Stanford are a bit closer in terms of personality and how they express themselves and what they want out of love. And then you have Anthony, Miranda, Stanford together as well on their side. Sorry, Samantha. Anthony, Samantha, and Miranda on the left side, and you literally see them physically separated by this railing in the middle, which I really like, and you kind of have Stanford in between. And I think there's a lot to be said for that if they actually gave a about Stanford and gave him a nice storyline, because they did hint at this a lot, that he would often struggle with work-life balance. All right, so now Carrie has a phone that she knows how to use, but honestly, whatever happens next could really change the whole narrative, and I think everybody knows that. So okay, great, she has a phone, but now you're able to call him, and whatever he says might really change your life. You have Charlotte on the left here looking like she's literally about to vomit. Like you can tell she's feeling all that anxiety. I really think Charlotte is probably a water sign, and I feel like she really soaks in the emotions of the people around her, and I can really relate to that. And I think that the high stress and anxiety that Carrie's under is absolutely washing over Charlotte. I feel like Charlotte also had a very stressful first wedding. She was really anxious about to walk down the aisle, and I actually love it because in that moment she pulled Carrie to the side and was like, I have to talk to you. And Carrie's like, what's going on, girl? You gotta walk down the aisle right now. And she's like, I don't know about this, you know? So I think the two of them have a very special relationship and dynamic when it comes to entering this stage in their lives and how they've been there for each other. I love these next couple shots. You have Samantha going from looking from Carrie over to Miranda. Then you have Miranda looking over from Carrie to the floor to Samantha back at the floor. And then she puts on this brave face. Like she literally locks in because she's like, you know what? We don't know how this phone call is about to go, but we have to be correct. Like our friend could possibly crash out in front of us right now. So we need to be ready to step in, lock in, and do what needs to be done, as they always do. For 10 years. Mind you, like I need you guys to remember this. This wedding is happening after 10 years, and this isn't no, oh, we were 16 when we met and now we're getting married at 26. They met when she was 30 something and now she's 40 something. He was 40 something and now he's 50 something, acting like this. Carrie putting that phone up to her ear like Charlotte was already here in the conversation. So you can see her about to throw up. Then you have Carrie look at her. They make eye contact. And then Carrie elects to walk away. It would be different if she looked at the whole group. And I really wonder why they didn't have a frame like that, where she looks up and then surveys them. They all look back at her and then she's like, I'm just gonna, you know, I think that could have been one approach. But for her to look only at Charlotte and then to walk away with no words, to me, again, I think speaks to this black swan, white swan dichotomy of their marital situations. Like compared to Samantha and Miranda, they're both on the same side of the coin, I would say, when it comes to this marital situation. Like it's very much opposite, but still more aligned than Miranda and Samantha's situations compared to it. And the fact that Carrie or Charlotte is successfully married, has a child that she loves, a husband that loves her, like all her stuff is in order. And she's the closest to Carrie. And I feel like Carrie's looking at her like, I would be embarrassed in front of anybody, but I feel like I'm gonna be the most embarrassed in front of you in this situation because you rooted the hardest for this and you're in the happiest marriage. I love this shot because as Carrie finally walks away and takes her eyes off Charlotte, Charlotte finally drops the act and shows us how she's really feeling. This squirrel is like, it's not looking good, sisters. And she looks at the girls and they're like, yeah, it's looking really bad. So I just love Kristen, I'm forgetting her last name, Christine Davis. I'm loving Christine Davis's face acting right now. I love that her hands have not moved. I also love that you can really see her ring clearly in this shot with the way that she has it right in front of her stomach. Also, we don't know it yet, but she is pregnant and will announce it, about 40 minutes from now in this movie. So I feel like there's actually a lot going on here in this shot. Miranda tries to distract herself. She turns around and goes, hey, Brady, let me fix your tie, whatever. She's trying to kind of reinsert herself in that bubble that she was in earlier with Brady and Magda and shifting her attention otherwise, because I think she can also tell that her friend doesn't want to be looked at. And Miranda's very perceptive. So I could definitely see, even though they didn't show it, a situation where Carrie's picking up the phone, looking at Charlotte, and then walks away. And Miranda interprets that as, okay, she doesn't want us to be staring right now. Like, let's all just breathe and do something else and give her space. And let's be ready to lock in when this inevitably goes left, because it's probably going to. This is the part that's really crazy to me. So first of all, let's talk about the visuals, okay? You have Carrie stepping away from that frame into the next. She's now on her own. We haven't seen Carrie in her own frame this entire scene so far. She's always either with Charlotte or with the entire ensemble. This is the first time we're seeing her by herself. Now, y'all, if your husband was 30 minutes late to y'all's wedding and you call him and he answers talking about some hello, when actually, let me not even do that, because she did call from Stanford's phone. So maybe he really was trying to figure out who it was, but I don't care. I feel like you're about to get married. So if you're late, you know that anybody who's involved who's calling you is trying to figure out why you're late. So for you to answer with hello instead of, oh my God, I know I'm late, I'm so sorry, I'm in traffic, I'm around the corner, don't start without me, like da 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 da. That's how you should answer the phone. To answer like hello, hello, like where are you at? You're late for your wedding. What's going on? Love how Carrie's first thought was, are you okay? But I personally don't think this is really genuine. I think that, first of all, she said it as loud as she did because she wanted it to sound like, okay, my initial thought is that this man is in an emergency. I don't even want to admit that my first thought could be that he's standing me up right now at our wedding. So I'm going to go for the first approach that clearly you must be in a ditch somewhere with your neck broken for you to not be here right now. Like, are you okay? Right? He gonna say, why haven't you been answering your phone? You're already starting off wrong. Like, how are you gonna say, hello? Why haven't you been answering your phone? Where are you? Like, are you gonna give me an explanation as to why you're not here? It's already looking bad, bro. Like, he don't even got nothing to say except from asking you questions. Girl, it's really not looking good. Love how in this scene, first of all, this is the first time we're seeing Big in a while since before they all entered the church. We can see the background moving in the window shield behind him. So we know that that car is physically moving. It's not parked in front of the church anymore or the library. It's on the move somewhere. He is in movement, heading away from the venue. And he talked about something, hello, why weren't you answering the phone? Yikes. Because I don't know where my phone is. Like, I'm about to get married. Now, what I will say is that this is a very early 2000s thing. I think at this point, we are so much more used to having our phones attached to us at all times. I do think the average bride probably still does put their phone away, I'm sure, for weddings. But I think as you're in that process of getting ready for the wedding, as she was earlier that day in their house and everything, I'm sure in today's time, her phone would have been closer to her. She probably would have heard it going off. Lily did put it away somewhere, but I feel like that's the kinds of things you could do. Like, you could just put a little tiny flip phone in a little purse and it's just gone for the day. But also, she's not thinking she needs to be paying attention to her phone. It's her wedding day and it's a huge spectacle wedding. Like, why are you pressed about your phone? You're supposed to be over here already. So what are you talking about right now? And also, again, I'm not thinking I need to be on my phone because we should be at the same place right now. So what's tea? Magna and Miranda look up. Brady looks up. This is the first time we don't see Brady smiling, bro. I think he finally started to pick up on the vibe that something was wrong. So literally, she stole the words out of my mouth. So what's going on? Where are you? And it's like, she said it in kind of a cute way of like so what's going on? Like, you can tell that she's trying to embellish what's being said on the other side of the phone based on what she's responding to. So she doesn't want it to be clear to anyone who's listening that he's saying undesirable things on the other end. And so I feel like she's trying to overcompensate for whatever he's doing on her end so that the conversation still sounds ambiguous, because she's literally processing it in real time that he could quite possibly really be doing this right now. And I think she's trying to keep the combo neutral so at least other people aren't getting that intel at the same time she is. I was out front. I just left. He already using past tense. I was out front. Pause. Carrie serves face. I just left. I can't do this. Carrie lets out that dramatic ass exhale, and Miranda immediately locks in. She heard that little gasp and she was like, yup, whatever he just said, no, it's time to lock in. She stepped into best friend mode immediately. Oh my God. And then dramatically unleashes Stanford's phone, mind you, this is not her phone. She drops Stanford's phone, but look at how beautifully it cascades, y'all. Let's really break this down frame by frame, okay? So you first have the first shot of her hand also delicately resting on her gown. Let's get into this beautiful material that we have, this satin that we have going on. And then you have the phone, and I love how she's holding it more securely compared to the iPhone. This just visually looks really cute. I feel like we kind of lost these kinds of visuals with iPhones and modern phones. I think the flip and like just the design of it, how long and slender it is, and the fact that it can even rest like this on the gown, I think an iPhone would have like immediately caved into it because they're just so heavy, right? So the fact that this phone is so light, it can even fall gracefully like this, and then it kind of slowly starts to fall, and then it finally hits the floor and like folds in a little bit, but it ends up standing upright on the floor. I don't know why I just live for this dramatic phone fall on the floor shot. Like, it just does something for me. Carrie, do you think I'm gonna stay on the phone? You just told me you can't do this in reference to our wedding. Obviously, she's no longer on the phone, sir. He's not coming. Once again, Christina's gone. I love how the veil is back over her face at this point. It's like she doesn't want to accept the situation. Like, she puts the veil back over her eyes as if she can't even process or accept the reality that she was just hit with. And so I love this contrast of some frames she's holding the veil over so that you can see clearly, and then other times she's choosing to put it back down, you know, to kind of conceal herself from the truth that's like too difficult to process right now. Then we pan over to Charlotte. Her eyebrows are so deeply furrowed into her forehead. It looks like they're gonna literally cave in. And you can tell that she's processing this just as intensely at the same time as Carrie is. I feel like it hit her just as hard. At this point, Carrie's starting to have a hard time breathing. She's like low-key clawing at her dress a little bit, like she's trying to pull it off of her. And then here comes Samantha. What do you mean he's not coming? What do you mean, what do I mean? You said that he's not here. I'm saying that he's not coming. Miranda locks in. She turns around to Magda. Take Brady. You have to take him, because she knew that she was about to be in a central role in whatever was about to go down next. Love these next 3 frames of Carrie at first quietly being like, get me out of here. Then you pan back over to Charlotte. She looks like she's about to cry. Before, she looked like she was about to throw up. Now she looks like she's about to cry. Just fantastic acting on Kim Davis's part. And then you have Carrie screaming, get me out of here. At this point, Samantha locked in as well. She's like, you guys take her, I'll handle all this. Which, honestly, knowing Samantha makes a lot of sense of why she would rather stay back at the venue and handle the logistics versus getting in the limousine with Carrie and doing whatever it is that they're about to do. They don't know what's about to happen next right now. What you do know is that you just got stood up on your wedding day. Now what? And so from watching the series, we know that Samantha doesn't do well with like emotion. And when her friends are going through loss or really difficult times, she has a hard time kind of knowing what to say and what to do in those situations. This means a lot to me here. This shot, first of all, just kind of getting reacclimated to our environment. I'm very upset that we don't have more B-roll of this beautiful library. But I really love how Charlotte is holding Carrie very closely and Miranda is kind of holding it to a distance. But you can see that Miranda's grip is super tight and Charlotte's is a bit looser, but like she's really, really close to her. And I think you can really just see how all of their past interpretations and understandings of what all this was is kind of coming out. I think Miranda's always had a lot of disdain for Big, and so I think her holding Carrie like this is kind of her being like, okay, I'm not gonna say it now, but I totally saw this coming and I've been telling you to leave this man alone for years, but I'm still gonna hold on tight because you're my girl. But oof, like I kind of need some distance from you myself, and I need to kind of step into action mode, so I need to, you know, keep a clear mind. Whereas Charlotte is completely in comfort mode. She's trying to hold her close. I also love the back of her dress here. Like the bodice is really gorgeous, and this interesting situation with the wings. I might need to zoom in on that. But yeah, I really love this. Love the symmetry. I love the accent of blue complementing Miranda, and then the white complementing the flowers in Charlotte's hand. Yeah, love this. I also love this frame of Samantha, Stanford, and Anthony looking onward as if they're kind of sending, you know, the girls on their odyssey, basically. But Samantha looks really distressed. The other two just kind of look disappointed, worried, but Samantha looks stressed out. I'm really, really obsessed with these next three shots. I love this view of the girls walking down the stairs in a way that makes them look smaller, but we really can just appreciate the space overall. As we move forward, we see them coming all the way down the steps. Again, they're still on those ends. We get a zoom out and we can see a little bit more of the space here. I love how the sun is streaming through onto the floor. They probably shot this at like 3 p.m. or something. This is just beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. This makes me want to go to wherever this was shot. I need to figure out what library this is. We have Miranda moving forward, always kind of trying to be ahead of the group and ahead of the curve, more productive. Love this shot of Carrie just looking out the window. This is very much me staring out the window on a long drive, listening to Paramore vibes. Not to make fun of my girl though, like she's really going through an earth-shattering moment right now. These next couple frames are just silly, goofy, Big being like, wait, I can't believe I just stood this woman up at the altar. We've been going out on and off for 10 years. And also we both invested a lot of money in this wedding and there's a lot of people here today. Maybe I should have just relaxed and talked to her on the side. Maybe I could have at least gotten out of my vehicle to go find her and pull her to the side so we can have a conversation. But also, no, like doing all of this on your wedding day when y'all already discussed it last night of what the tea was, and now you're freaking out. We also see Big's driver candidly, I think for the first time so far in this scene and in the movie. I don't know if this is the same driver he's had throughout the series too, but if so, then that would be really cool because he's really been around from the beginning, like from the moment that he drove this girl home the first night. So the driver says it's a one-way street, I have to go around the block. Big says, but by the time we go around the block, she'll be gone. Like he definitely has been going around the block for literally 10 years. And he's talking about she'll be gone. Christine is very much gone. But no, she's not, unfortunately. They still end up getting married. This driver to go, he's like, I think this is them. He don't know what's about to go down, but he's like, at the end of the day, this man pays my bills. So if he wants to track this girl down, we're gonna track him down. This man gonna drive past her car talking about some Carrie. The way she looked out that window. Big's driver parks his car. Carrie's driver parks their car in the middle of the street. They skid to a stop, okay? The next frame is both their car doors opening. We see Carrie's dress first, and we don't see anything of Big. Interesting. Next frame, we have Carrie coming out the car, more foot down. She's focused on her footing, making sure she doesn't fall. Big is looking straight at her. He gets out the car as well. He's yelling out her name. And this jog that she hit, I really feel like emulated her cute little like jog that she be doing throughout the streets of New York in the show, but this one is with intention. Like this girl is running with a straight face. She looks pissed. In these gold heels, she means business. Like something is about to go down for sure. He talking about, I freaked out for a minute, but I'm ready now. And you can tell he has his hands out as if he's gonna like take her hands. And this is really where the Delulu and Big came out. Like, I honestly think the way that Carrie has always been willing to take him back in the last 10 years made him think that he could really pull this stunt, and she was just gonna welcome him in her arms and comfort him, and that they were gonna walk over back to the wedding together. At this point, the damage is done. Even if you decide you still want to get married, you've already embarrassed me by having a freak out moment to this extent, where even if we get married, it's clear that you're not actually ready for this level of commitment. And you did it in front of all my friends and family. And you did it at my birthday dinner. Like, time and place. All right, let's run through these because my computer's about to die. So these next couple frames, first of all, let's get into this wind up. Like, the way that Carrie's face gradually gets so strained, and the way that she winds up that skinny little arm of hers to go mink, 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 mink. Like, she was getting the Mario coins out of this man in the most derogatory way. She said, bah! He literally said, oh. Okay, like, you could tell that was the last thing that he expected to happen. Love this frame of, you know, Big retreating back into his black limo with his black suit. We have Carrie in the middle with her white dress. My computer just died, so we're gonna have to do this off memory. And then you have Miranda kind of coming in from the side with her blue dress, reaching out to Carrie. What happens after that? So boom, right now I'm using a little makeshift. I have my desk lamp over there giving me some light. You can see my shadow back here. You see the little tails of my bandana, okay? We're just gonna wrap this up. But you have the girls walking towards the car. You have Carrie sobbing, you humiliated me. I knew you would do this. I love the way that, like, kind of her arm moving in that way is kind of drawing that bridge from the girls behind her, Miranda and Charlotte. And it's almost as if, like, all their energy is going into them strikes. Like, she really going in on this man. And Big just looks completely shocked. You could tell he genuinely thought that he was gonna be able to do all this and then come right back to Carrie and everything was gonna be fine. And honestly, that's what he's used to, so I can understand that. There's really no apology that can fix this, at least for now. Again, spoiler alert, they do still get married in the end. So how did they get from this to that? You tell me. I love the part of Big, you know, he's like back in the car and then he's coming back out. He's like, I'm sorry, Carrie, I'm sorry. Miranda is trying to get her and Charlotte away from the scene because at this point, I feel like she's in business professional mode. Miranda is doing what Samantha would do if Samantha was there. Miranda and Samantha are handling business in their own way. Miranda's handling business on the emotional front, and then Samantha's handling business on the logistical front. And you have Big coming out the car, Carrie, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And then you have Carrie kind of turn around, right? Like, she's done with Big. She flings herself backwards, and you would think that she would go over for Miranda, but she actually throws herself literally into Charlotte for comfort, and Charlotte kind of like grabs her back up. I love this scene because Charlotte is always kind of holding something close. Remember in the beginning where she was holding the flowers really closely? Now she has Carrie in this embrace. She's taking her friend away from the situation, but as Big tries to get closer, this is my absolute favorite part where Charlotte crashes out. Charlotte is my favorite character in the ensemble. I love this girl. And so we rarely ever hear her raise her voice in the main series and the movies. First of all, props to Christine Davis for this performance, okay? And then for Charlotte, I feel like in this moment, again, I feel like she was feeling everything the most out of everybody. Everybody was extremely disappointed, but I think her heartbreak of this situation was the closest to Carrie's because she was the one rooting for their relationship. She was so happy for Carrie to finally get married and to finally have her happy ending, and for it to go this horribly. I also really love how Charlotte's ring is on huge display. I just really love that contrast of Charlotte's married, her life is together, but she's feeling this the most intensely. And she's kind of putting it out there of like, I truly believe in the sanctity of marriage. Like, I am a part of a happy marriage. I still believe in love. I still believe in good marriages. And all of my friends' situations are falling apart. Miranda got cheated on. Carrie got left at the altar. Samantha don't know what's going on. This is just not the vibes. And I just really love how they have the ring clearly popping out right now in that scene, and also just really draws your attention to the center as well, and like really accentuates her hand really holding on to Carrie and really taking her into her embrace, and then Miranda acting as backup support. Then you have them moving on, going towards back their car. You have the driver opening the door for them, and you have Miranda kind of immediately going back over to her side, and then Charlotte doing her part to get Carrie's dress up into the car. But I love how Miranda closes her door and then immediately looks over at Big with the most disgusted face. You know what I mean? And then gets into the car. And then you have Charlotte, who is just full of rage. The driver of the girls' limousine closed the door. We pan back over to Big, standing there looking sick as hell, with his driver looking equally sick, just like, how, sir, how did we get here? And now you got me looking like an accomplice. I'm sitting here looking crazy with you. And then another New Yorker is trying to drive past and tells them to get out the way. And that is the end of the scene. So a lot happened in the recording of this video. As y'all can tell, it's definitely been a while. I should have checked that my devices were fully charged. It was just a lot going on, okay? Bear with me. But I really loved doing this video. I really loved doing this frame by frame analysis, and I have a new appreciation for this scene, for the entire movie, for the work of the directors, cinematographers, the writers. I think they really did a good job emulating that original intention and vibe and just sentiment of Sex and the City before it got off the rails a little bit. And this movie definitely makes me want to go back and rewatch season 1, you know, go back to when her and Big first met and really just see how do we get here. And for me, I rewatch the pilot very often. I have a whole episode about why the pilot is so amazing. When you know how Carrie and Big's story plays out, even like with Just Like That, when you go back and watch that pilot, it's just like, oh my God, I wish I could go back in time and tell this girl to leave him alone, or to even prevent her from even being at that nightclub in the first place to meet him. Like, oh my gosh, meeting Big was really the worst thing that ever happened to Carrie, 100%. Diva down big time. And I'm very sleepy now. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, so I'm gonna stop. But I look forward to you all seeing more of me this year. I'm not gonna really see you unless you comment and I know who you are. But I look forward to y'all seeing more of me and doing more videos like this. I definitely intend to do more frame by frame breakdowns. I'll probably do one of like The Craft. I would love to do the Gossip Girl like intro scene where Serena comes back. Those are a couple of ideas I have of other frame by frames I could do. So with all that being said, good night, buenos noches, Jean Jean, and I will see you guys in the next video. Please like this if you enjoyed, and if you want to see more like this, and I'm being serious this time, please subscribe. If you unsubscribe to me because I stopped posting and you're seeing this, please resubscribe. I'm sorry. And I will see you guys next time.